Hi guys. This is part 1 of a series where I'll be explaining every term in the Digimon card game starting with keywords. I originally intended for this to be one video, but the script got way too long, so I decided to split it up. I can't say for sure how many parts there will be because I'd like to make this an ongoing series that I can add to as needed, but for now you can count on at least 2. Just so we're all on the same page, I consider this an intermediate level video. I won't be going into super intricate detail, but I made an effort to cover as much gameplay relevant information as possible. Beginners will definitely have a lot to take away, and I hope that more experienced players will learn a thing or two as well. Just to make super sure that everything here is correct and not unintentionally misleading, I got the stamp of approval from a judge who was kind enough to look over my script. But before we get into the keywords, we need to cover some critical background knowledge. Let's start with probably the 2 most commonly used terms in the game, source and stack. Source is shorthand for Digivolution card. For example, a Digimon with 4 Digivolution cards is said to have 4 sources. A source does not have to be a Digimon card, both Tamers and option cards can also be sources. A stack is, in the broadest of terms, a Digimon with at least one source. Frequently, you'll hear the term stack being used to refer to a high-level Digimon with multiple sources, but it's technically just as correct to call a level 3 Digimon with just one source a stack. Next, let's do a quick refresher on effect resolution. I'm not going to get super into it, so for now, just remember these 2 things. 1. Effect resolution has 2 stages, the trigger and the activation. Triggering is meeting the conditions for the effect, and activation is actually doing the effect. 2. When multiple effects trigger at the same time, the player gets to choose the order in which they activate. If you want a bit of a deeper look into effect resolution, I have a section about it in my Beelzemon video, complete with examples. For our final detour, we have to talk about attacking procedures because many keywords only function at specific points during an attack. Just to let you guys know, there's some slight rules changes for this and a few other things coming in the future. They haven't been rolled out to the English game yet, but if the Japanese game is anything to go by, we can expect them to take effect sometime during BT17. The changes only affect a few very specific scenarios, so the vast majority of games will play out exactly the same both before and after the update. For that reason, and because I want to future-proof this video as much as possible, I'll be using the new rules. First, the turn player declares an attack, suspends the attacking Digimon, and designates a target. This attack triggers effects from both players, such as when attacking and when a Digimon attacks effects from the turn player, and when an opponent's Digimon attacks effects from the opponent. Whenever effects from both players trigger at the same time, the turn player has priority, so they resolve all their effects first. Then the opponent resolves their effects. After all effects have been resolved, counter timing occurs. This is where the opponent can activate one and only one counter effect, such as Blast Digivolve. Again, all effects must resolve before moving to the next step. Now comes block timing. This is the point at which the opponent can redirect the attack into one of their Digimon with blocker. Finally, the attack resolves. A battle will occur if the attack target was a Digimon or if the attack was redirected into a Digimon. If the target was security checks are performed. After all other effects are resolved, the attack ends and the game can proceed. That's pretty much it. I paraphrased a bit, but covered all the parts relevant to this video. Finally, we can get into the keywords. Keywords are used to indicate universal mechanics of the game and are highlighted in orange. Many keywords can vary in magnitude or scope. For these keywords, I'll use X as a stand-in for a number or a bit of text. For each keyword, I'll show which colors and/or archetypes they're commonly found in, explain the mechanic, and throw in any supplementary information that I think is important to know. Let's begin. Blocker. This keyword lets a Digimon intercept an opponent's attack. When your opponent attacks during block timing, suspend your Digimon with the blocker keyword to redirect the attack into that Digimon. Any attack can be blocked as long as the blocker is not the current target. This is true even if the attack has already been redirected. Security attack plus X. This keyword allows an attacking Digimon to check X additional security cards. Remember that every Digimon checks 1 security by default, so security plus 1 means that a Digimon checks 2 cards, security plus 2 checks 3 cards, and so on. Most players will avoid the off by 1 error by simply stating how many checks their attacker has. If the attacking Digimon leaves play before or during security checks, the attack ends and checks stop immediately because a Digimon must be in play to perform security checks. Another important thing to know is that you can't win the game with an extra security check. For example, if the opponent has 1 security remaining and you attack with a Digimon that has 2 checks, only 1 check is performed. Extra security checks are just that, checks. There are no cards to check if the security stack is empty, so any remaining checks don't do anything. The final attack to win the game must be made against an empty security stack. Security attack minus X. This keyword takes away X security checks from a Digimon. Listen closely, because I see this effect causing confusion all the time. Security minus does not impact a Digimon's ability to attack. It can still attack security and other Digimon. It can still trigger when attacking effects. The only thing security minus does is reduce the number of security checks. You may even find yourself in a situation where attacking security for 0 checks is still worth doing because it allows you to trigger important when attacking effects. If an attacking Digimon gains security attack -X in the middle of an attack, the total number of security checks is updated immediately. For example, a Digimon attacks for 3 checks and hits Holy Flame as the first card. Its number of checks decreases by 1, leaving it with 2. 1 check was already performed, so now 1 check remains. Lastly, you can't win the game by attacking with a Digimon that has 0 security checks. A valid game-winning attack must be made by a Digimon that can check at least 1 card. Recovery plus X. This is a simple one. Take the top card of your deck and place it as the top card of your security stack. Repeat this process X times. Do not look at the cards. Some cards only let you recover in certain circumstances, such as if you have 5 or fewer security cards, so pay special attention to these restrictions. Piercing. Piercing allows an attacking Digimon to perform security checks even when attacking another Digimon, provided the attacker survives and the target is deleted in battle. If these conditions are met, any security checks that would have taken place had the Digimon attacked security still take place. For example, you attack with a piercing Digimon and the opponent blocks the attack. The blocker is deleted in battle and your Digimon survives. Piercing now triggers because its conditions have been met. Make sure to declare the activation because it's easy to miss. Any other effects from the battle resolve and then security checks are performed. Again, the attacking Digimon must be in play to perform security checks, so if it was removed from the battle area before the conclusion of the attack, no checks occur. Like Security Plus, Piercing only performs security checks, so you can't win the game with it. Draw X. You already know this one, just draw X cards. Jamming. When a Digimon with jamming attacks security, it can't be deleted in the ensuing battle. To be extra clear, jamming only protects against battle with security Digimon. It does not protect against option cards in security, nor does it protect against battle with other Digimon in the battle area. Digizorption -X. When you would digivolve into a Digimon from your hand that has the Digizorption keyword, you can suspend one of your Digimon to reduce the Digivolution cost by X. Note that it just says one of your Digimon, so you can suspend the Digimon you're about to digivolve on top of if you want. Reboot. Digimon with this keyword unsuspend during your opponent's unsuspend phase in addition to your own. Reboot is a good keyword to pair with blocker so that a Digimon can attack on your turn while also being ready to block on the opponent's turn. Reboot also somewhat gets around effects that prevent your Digimon from unsuspending during your turn because they unsuspend at the beginning of the opponent's turn after the effect has worn off. De-Digivolve X. When a Digimon is de-Digivolved, the top card of the stack is trashed up to X times or until the top card of the stack is a level 3. For example, if a level 6 stack is hit with De-Digivolve 3, the top 3 cards, i.e. the level 6, level 5, and level 4 cards are trashed, leaving a level 3 Digimon as the top card. The result is the same if a level 4 Digimon is hit with De-Digivolve 3 because the effect always stops once the top card is a level 3 Digimon. Remember that De-Digivolve says up to. You can choose to stop at any point in the process. If the top card is a level 2 Digimon after being de-Digivolved, say if the level 3 was removed by some other effect, the stack will immediately be trashed because level 2 Digimon have no DP. If the top card becomes an option card, it will similarly be trashed unless it's explicitly allowed to exist in the battle area, as is the case for cards with delay and other special options. If a stack ends up with a Tamer as the top card after being de-Digivolved, it becomes a Tamer again. This does not count as the Tamer being played. Any sources remain under the Tamer, but any inherited effects don't apply unless the stack becomes a Digimon again. If this interaction takes place in the middle of an attack, the attack ends because a Tamer can't check security. Using the up to rule to stop at a Tamer in these matchups can be very beneficial. Retaliation. If a Digimon with Retaliation loses a battle, the Digimon it battled is also deleted. Here's a fun fact, a stack with 2 or more sources of Retaliation will trigger all of them when deleted in battle. Each deletion attempt activates individually, so the opponent would need a way to prevent multiple deletions to survive. Digiburst X. Digiburst is a keyword that allows a Digimon to trash X of its own sources to activate an effect. You can choose which sources are trashed, and some cards have inherited effects that activate specifically if they were trashed via Digiburst. Rush. Rush allows a Digimon to attack on the same turn it's played. That's pretty much it. Blitz. In a nutshell, Blitz allows a Digimon to attack even if the memory gauge has passed to the opponent's side. There's more to it than that though, so listen carefully because the actual effect is quite specific. First, Blitz is not a passive ability. It's always attached to the when digivolving or on play triggers because those triggers involve spending memory. To properly activate Blitz, the memory gauge needs to pass to the opponent's side when digivolving into or playing a Digimon. You're then able to declare an attack with that Digimon and resolve any effects triggered by that attack. When those are done, resume any other when digivolving or on play effects, and then finally resolve the attack. If the memory gauge doesn't pass over, the opportunity to attack with Blitz is lost, though it would still be your turn so you could just attack normally. A few other things to know about Blitz. It's only good for one attack. Even if the attacking Digimon manages to unsuspend, Blitz's effect is done, and once the attack ends, your turn is over. An attack made with Blitz must be legal, meaning you can't break the normal rules of the game even though the effect doesn't mention them specifically. That means no attacking with a Digimon played that turn, unless it has Rush. The Digimon must be able to suspend to declare the attack, and the Digimon must not be prohibited from attacking by an effect. Delay. An option-exclusive keyword, cards with delay are placed in the battle area after being used or checked in security. Starting on the turn after the card was placed, the delay effect can be activated either by manually activating it during the main phase, or by fulfilling a certain condition indicated on the card. Remember that using delay is always optional, so even for conditional cards, you can choose not to activate them. Additionally, using a delay effect is not considered using an option card, so effects that prevent option use won't work to stop delay effects. Decoy X. This time the X is not a number, but a type of card. When a Digimon of X type would be deleted by an opponent's effect, you can delete your Digimon with Decoy X to prevent that deletion. For example, EX3 Commandramon has Decoy D-Brigade trait, so if another of your Digimon with D-Brigade in its traits were to be deleted by an effect, you could delete Commandramon instead. Armor Purge. When a Digimon with Armor Purge would be deleted, you can trash the top card of the stack to prevent that deletion. Armor Purge has no restriction on its protection, so it works against deletion by battle as well as by effect. It's important to know that Piercing will fail if the attacked Digimon uses Armor Purge. Piercing requires the attacked Digimon to be deleted in battle, which Armor Purge prevents. In this case, no checks occur and the attack ends. It's also worth mentioning the interaction between Armor Purge and being reduced to 0 DP. You can of course trash the top card to prevent deletion, but the DP reduction remains in effect. In most cases, the Digimon underneath will still be at 0 DP, getting deleted again immediately. The same rules that apply to D-Digivolve also apply to Armor Purge if the top card becomes a level 2 Digimon, Tamer, or option card. Save. Save is a keyword which is always preceded by the on-deletion trigger. When a Digimon with Save is deleted, the top card of the stack may be placed under a Tamer as its bottom source. This is an important mechanic for several archetypes that can use Tamer sources as Digicross materials, allowing them to keep momentum even if their Digimon are deleted. Material Save X. Material Save is basically the same as regular save, but it works with sources instead. Specifically, it saves X sources that are listed in the Digicross requirements of the top card. Note that Material Save is not an on-deletion effect, it actually triggers before the Digimon is deleted, so Material Save must come before any on-deletion effects or other effects triggered by a Digimon being deleted. Evade. When a Digimon with Evade would be deleted, it may be suspended to prevent that deletion. Evade is best when paired with effects that allow the Digimon to unsuspend after attacking, blocking, or evading, so that you're immediately ready to attack, block, or evade again. Like Armor Purge, Evade will cause Piercing to fail and won't protect against being reduced to 0 DP. Raid. When a Digimon with Raid attacks, the attacking player can choose to redirect that attack into one of the opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. It's important to note that Raid is not an effect that targets an opponent's Digimon, so any cards that protect against opponent's effects will not prevent being attacked via Raid. Alliance. When a Digimon with Alliance attacks, the attacking player can suspend another one of their Digimon. If they do, the attacking Digimon then gains Security +1 and gains DP equal to the suspended Digimon's DP. Keep in mind that Alliance only grants the extra check and DP for that attack, so unsuspending and attacking again will result in a normal attack unless you activate Alliance again with another target. Alliance can also be used to suspend Digimon that were played the same turn, resulting in a sort of pseudo-rush. Barrier. When your Digimon with Barrier would be deleted in battle, and only in battle, you can trash the top card of your security stack to prevent that deletion. Pretty underwhelming protection, I agree, but it's a yellow keyword, so decks that use it have security to spare. There are also cards now that activate or play themselves when trashed from security, potentially providing huge value on top of their protection. Blast Digivolve. This keyword is preceded by the hand and counter triggers, meaning it can only be activated by a card in your hand during counter timing. It allows a Digimon in your hand to Digivolve on top of a Digimon in your battle area for free, usually with the aim of disrupting the opponent's attack with the when Digivolving effect. Remember that counter timing comes before block timing, so it's possible to blast Digivolve into something with blocker to block the incoming attack. Mind Link. A Tamer exclusive keyword, Mind Link allows a Tamer in the battle area to be placed as the bottom source of a compatible Digimon, granting it some handy inherited effects. Fortitude. When a Digimon with Fortitude is deleted, if it had at least one source, the top card of the stack is played again for free. Fortitude is secretly just a fancy on-deletion effect, so it triggers once the Digimon is sent to the trash, at the same time as any other on-deletion effects. If this happens, make sure to do the Fortitude effect last, or else the on-deletions will get skipped since the Digimon is no longer in the trash. Partition X and Y. Partition triggers when your Digimon with X and Y in its sources would leave the battle area other than by one of your effects or by battle. Before it's removed, one X Digimon and one Y Digimon are played from its sources for free. That may have sounded a bit funky, so here's an example. BT16 Pyildramon has Partition, Blue level 4 and Green level 4. Let's say that you have one with XVmon and Stingmon in its sources. It gets deleted by an opponent's effect. Partition triggers since it has both a blue level 4 and a green level 4 in its sources. You can now play XVmon and Stingmon from sources before Pyldramon is deleted. Both Digimon are considered to be played at the same time, so any on-play effects will trigger simultaneously. Collision. When a Digimon with Collision attacks, all the opponent's Digimon gain blocker for that attack, and the opponent must block if able. Similar to Raid, Collision has a wacky interaction with effect immunity. In most cases, an effect-immune Digimon would not gain blocker from the opponent using Collision, and thus would not be forced to block. However, if that Digimon already had blocker, and was the only Digimon on the board, it would be forced to block. This is because the part of the effect that forces a block doesn't target Digimon, it targets the opponent, thereby sidestepping effect immunity. Scapegoat. When your Digimon with Scapegoat would be deleted, other than by one of your own effects, you can delete one of your other Digimon instead. Basically just a better version of Decoy. Blast DNA Digivolve X plus Y. This keyword functions the same as regular Blast Digivolve, except it involves using two Digimon, X and Y, one of which is in your battle area and the other of which is in your hand, to DNA Digivolve into the Digimon with this keyword. For example, you have Anjouamon in the battle area. You have Lady Devimon in your hand, as well as Mastamon Ace, who has Blast DNA Digivolve, Anjouamon plus Lady Devimon. During counter timing, you can activate Blast DNA from Mastamon Ace in your hand to DNA Digivolve Anjouamon and Lady Devimon to form Mastamon Ace. Vortex. Vortex triggers at the end of your turn and allows your Digimon to attack an opponent's Digimon, even if your Digimon was played that turn. This limitation can be mitigated by combining it with Piercing or effects that allow attacks to be redirected. Just like with Blitz, the attack made by Vortex has to be legal, meaning you can't target an unsuspended Digimon with the attack, even though it's not mentioned specifically as part of the effect. Overclock X. Another keyword that triggers at the end of your turn, a Digimon with Overclock can attack a player without suspending by deleting one of your tokens or a Digimon with X trait. And yes, you can use Overclock to attack with a Digimon that's already suspended. Normally, suspending a Digimon is part of declaring an attack. However, Digimon that can attack without suspending skip this step, so they can attack even if they're already suspended. Other than that exception, the attack of course has to be legal. Iceclad. Digimon with Iceclad compare the number of sources each Digimon has instead of DP during battle, excluding battles with security Digimon. Iceclad works both when attacking and when being attacked. Overflow minus X. Finally, we come to Overflow. Overflow is not technically a keyword, it's a game mechanic, but it felt wrong not to include it. Unlike real keywords, Overflow is not an effect and thus does not follow effect resolution. Overflow is not triggered or activated. It just happens instantly whenever the conditions are met. Overflow also has a rule update on the way, so I'll again be following the new ruling since it's barely different from the old one. The official wording of the effect is funky, so here's my version. When a card with Overflow moves from the battle or breeding area to anywhere that isn't the battle or breeding area, its owner loses X memory. The official text refers just to the area, which is an umbrella term including both the battle and breeding areas. Continuing on, the use of the word card in my definition is intentional. Overflow tracks the card itself, not the Digimon. This means that even if a card with Overflow is removed from the sources of another card, Overflow still occurs. Conversely, if a card with Overflow is placed as the bottom source of another card, it's still in the area, so Overflow does not occur. Remember that Overflow counts as losing memory, not the opponent gaining memory. This is important because memory loss can't be prevented by memory blocker floodgates. Well, that's all I have for you. I hope you learned something. The next part will cover triggers, those are all the blue terms, and special Digivolution conditions, also known as black boxes. Provided the script isn't too long, I'll throw in some other stuff too. Of course, any new keywords that are revealed between now and then will also be included. Thanks for watching. Bye!